Welcome to the Cabinet meeting. As usual, this meeting will be broadcast live via the Council's website and will be archived so you can view it afterwards. Members are reminded to switch off their microphones on before speaking and turn off when they've finished speaking. Apologies of absence, there are none. Minutes of the meeting held on the 12th of September. I move those minutes. Seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. Number 2, urgent items. There are no urgent items. Declarations of interest. Does anyone have any interest to declare in respect of any of the items on the agenda? No? Okay, thank you. Right. Item 4 is investing in Leicestershire programme and annual report, performance report 24-25. First item today sets out the performance of investing in Leicestershire programme 2024/25 financial year. Declan Keegan, the Director of Resource, will present the report, and then I will ask Harrison Fowler to speak as lead member. Thank you, Declan.
Thank you, Chair. As you've mentioned, the report is backward-looking, looking at the sort of previous financial year for the Investing in Leicestershire programme, which the aim of the programme is very much to support the County Council's strategic objectives whilst delivering a financial return at the same time. The portfolio had a value of £292 million at the end of the financial year, which is very, very similar to the opening value. Although members will note the opening value has been restated from the previous year as we've included the tenanted areas of County Hall in that valuation now. Throughout the year, there was no acquisition activity, although there has been a few capital realisations from the diversified investments, although that's been offset by the capital appreciation, primarily on the rural estate. To date, to build that £292 million portfolio, we've invested £204 million, which kind of shows the strength of the capital investment. And at the moment, the portfolio does yield a revenue return of £8.6 million for the previous financial year. Members will note that the overall revenue returns as a percentage of capital value are suppressed due to the fact that we've got significant holdings of rural and development assets, and they make up nearly half of the portfolio. And for rural assets, it is expected, it's just the nature of the investment, that kind of revenue returns across the entire market are very low, and that's kind of more than compensated by healthy kind of capital appreciation. And for the development assets, again, you hold these with a view for capital appreciation, and you'd expect this sort of value of the development assets to reduce as kind of we do progress different schemes. When you do look at the financial performance of the portfolio, taking together the revenue and the capital return over that 5-year period, you will see it very much is the capital appreciations that driving sort of good financial returns above the market return level. Looking ahead, I touched on development. The next development scheme likely to be realised or expected to be realised is the Airfield Farm Business Park, which is getting towards its final stage, and about half of the kind of the floor space on that sort of industrial estate, the final phase, has now been sort of let out. And then we've also expecting constructions to start very shortly on the Leaders Farm estate with a couple of drive-through units that have been pre-let, being sort of in the first instalments of that sort of that site. The recommendations are set out in the order paper. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Declan. Could I ask Mr. Fowler to speak and move the motion on the order paper?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Declan, for that report. It's very extensive, and since coming into this new position, I've been very proud to look over the successes of this the Investing in Leicestershire programme. It's a great asset for improving the finances of the organisation and getting the taxpayer the greatest return on their contributions. But not only that, its secondary benefit of developing the country's economy the county's economy rather, is a huge bonus, and its outreach. So yeah, I'm pleased to propose this motion, considering the revenue it's generated and the outlook that's going forward with the strategic sites. So I'm happy to propose that.
Thank you. I will second the motion by saying thank you to Declan and his team. It's not always, when you're juggling money around, an easy concept to achieve good results, and I'm pleased with that. This is an important part because it's stable, it's money there that we can rely on, it's sensibly invested, we're getting decent returns for our investment. There's lots of options nowadays. You can do all sorts of magical things, but this is guaranteed. This is public money, and it's been invested wisely and carefully, and we're seeing returns on it. So I'm more than happy to second that motion. Is that agreed? Thank you. Move on to item 5, delivering the local plan. This is LTP4 2025 to 2040. The next steps of this is to advise us of the development of the enabling travel choice strategy, which forms part of the full local transport plan 2025-2040. And seeks approval of draft key policy positions that are intended to form the basis of the ETS for consultation. The report also details the work undertaken to prepare the multi-modal area investment plans, pilots which are part of the full LTP4. Finally, we're being asked to approve an initial consultation exercise to inform the development of the ETCS and the multi-modal area going forward investment plan. I've received written submission from Leicester Footpath Association and is attached to the order plan marked 5A. Comments have also been received from Mr. Page and Mr. King, and these are attached to the order paper marked 5B and 5C. Jana Walker, the Assistant Director of Environment and Transport, will present the report. I'll ask Charles Whitford to speak as Cabinet and Lead Member after Jana has spoken. Thank you. All yours, Jana.
Thank you, Chair. So, as you outlined, this Cabinet report sets out the next steps in delivering Leicestershire County Council's local transport plan. In this report, there's a particular focus on the development of the enabling travel choice strategy and also those area investment plans that you mentioned that are really a way of delivering all of our policy, on the ground. That's where we bring all of the policy together, and hopefully people will see that in their own local area with their different challenges. So the enabling travel choice strategy can help bring the LTP4 to life, really by hopefully empowering communities across the county. And I think really importantly, both existing and new communities to make informed and realistic travel choices that support them to access essential services such as employment, education. And again, I think we are giving more emphasis as well to the importance of leisure activities being included in communities as well as part of this local transport plan. So the report seeks Cabinet's approval to engage with the development industry, with residents of Leicestershire, with the planning authorities and other interested stakeholders on 6 draft policy positions that will underpin the strategy. And this is really about reflecting a shift towards more inclusive, evidence-based and flexible approach to transport planning, recognising the different and diverse needs of Leicestershire's communities. The policies include commitments to understanding those community needs at a local level, making sure we make use of local plan process and planning application processes, and also piloting different and innovative transport solutions where we can. And I think some of you will be aware of some of our demand responsive transport that's gone into more rural or isolated communities and made a difference there. That would be an example of the kind of thing. Look at redefining value for money and being flexible in our design. Again, some of you may be familiar with some of the design guidance around cycling infrastructure, for instance, being really quite prescriptive, and it's very difficult to fit that in existing town centre sort of areas, for instance. So what we can do on a more practical level around those things, this policy and strategy would give us the basis to do that. As you mentioned as well, the report outlines progress on the area investment plans. These are Market Harbour, Hinckley and South East Leicestershire. And I think this is the bit that would make sense of the policies on a local level to people. The area investment plans are designed to address barriers, access and mobility, support sustainable development, align with the council's objectives. So as you mentioned, we're looking to consult on these issues through one consultation process. We could have done one on the strategies, then done one on the local areas, but I think people would get a bit sick of talking to us and wouldn't be sure which one to go with. So we're going to do one consultation exercise. So whether you're interested in a very local issue, you can report that to us or talk to us about that. Or if it's more about the principles you're interested in, you'll be able to do that through the big travel survey that's coming. And again, we've talked about the importance of having community input into those plans. And we'll come back to Cabinet with the results of that consultation for further approval as needed. So the recommendations are as per the order paper. Chair, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Could I call upon Mr. Whitford to speak and move the motion on the order paper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Gemma. This report shows our commitment in reflecting our residents' and business needs when planning transport measures. Whilst it will provide a framework to make sure new developments are sustainable, connected to community facilities and services, it also reflects the diverse nature of Leicestershire and the need to support people to be connected by car where there's no practical options. Be connected by flexible and viable public transport services, as well as to be able to get out and about by active travel in a safe manner. I look forward to getting people's views on this and delivering it on a local level. So I quite happily propose this motion.
Thank you very much. Could I call upon Michael Squires to second the motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to second this item on the local transport plan. It's an important step towards a modern transport network which aims to help people live healthier lives by making it easier and safer to walk, cycle and use public transport, as well as strengthening reliable conventional car travel. What I like about this plan is that it's practical. It focuses on getting people and goods moving efficiently, supporting local jobs, improving roads that have been neglected in some cases. It recognises that rural communities like ours need reliable transport rather than in a city focus. It might be a focus on cycle lanes, which, as we know, are underutilised. So we're backing more choice in travel. We're being realistic. Most people in this county rely on car transport, and we need to make driving easier and safer, not harder and more expensive. And the phased approach is sensible. It gets the basics right, targets investment where it's needed most, and makes sure every pound delivers value for money. That's exactly the sort of common sense policy that people can expect from this administration. So I'm proud to second this motion and support a plan that's about action. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is that agreed? Thank you. Right, item 6 is the Leicester County Council's approach to flooding, spending the proposed 2 million in redistributed from reserves. Agenda item 6 seeks approval of the programme of flood mitigation and climate adaptation and the resilient measure. This programme will be funded using 2 million previously allocated for carbon reduction initiatives. Jana will also present this report, and then I'll ask Adam Tilbury to speak as Cabinet Lead Member. Thank you, Jana.
Thank you, Chair. So again, thank you for the introduction. So the report really sort of presents Leicestershire's response to the concerns around increased frequency and severity of flooding events we've seen across the county, and outlines a programme of adaptation and resilience measures that makes use of the £2 million you previously allocated. And it's really about the detail of that. The report does contain background on the flooding events, also on progress made this year. But I think for the sort of focus of this introduction, I just wanted to sort of highlight what we'll be doing with the 2 million and hopefully the difference it will make. And just in terms of how we've put the programme together, You'll all be aware that there's lots of things we could do with 2 million. You know, there's lots of options and we could spend more if we had it. So we've tried to focus the programme that we're presenting to you today by making sure that it's realistic and deliverable in the shorter term. We've put it here over a 2 to 3 year period so that there is flexibility about how we spend that in year, but people will be able to see those results. There'll be a clear and visible benefit to the public, and we're able to report openly on the progress against those measures. The focus will be on reducing the impact of flooding on Leicestershire's residents and businesses, and also adapting to be more resilient to severe weather. We know that this programme currently is limited to £2 million, and I think it's really important that the public understand that's a discretionary investment that's being made into this area. And so, you know, at the moment, we won't be able to continue and sustain that investment ongoing. So we need to make the most of this funding now and make sure that people do understand their responsibilities, you know, whether that's riparian owners or other risk management authorities, because this isn't an ongoing, never-ending pot. It does represent a really positive opportunity to trial new initiatives and approaches. And so we may find that we need to tweak things as we go along. If something works really well, we might put more into that. If something doesn't work, we'll change it and move on. But I think it is really important to be able to try those things, especially working with the communities. In putting this together as well, we've tried to recognise the council's statutory responsibilities, both as the lead local flood authority and the local highway authority. We make sure that we use the funding in line with our council's financial responsibilities. And also, and you won't be surprised to hear me say this, but as a person working in the department, but also we've got a level of staffing in there at the moment that's been increased to deal with the additional work, and we would be looking to sustain that in order to deliver the programme as well. So based on those principles, we've, and I'll just summarise it, the detail is in the report, looking to spend £400,000 directly on working with communities, things like providing alternatives to sandbags so that people can be ready for flood events and manage flood risk at a local level. Community grants, that's something that we're looking to provide, so individual solutions really, where the community knows best, if you like, hear from them and make sure that we can support communities to reduce flood risk or increase their resilience, and also spend some of the money on CCTV investigations where actually the causes of flood risk are not quite clear or known. As the lead local flood authority, if we can conduct that investigation where there's perhaps a dispute or a number of competing parties, then we can move on to a solution quicker. We've also got 300,000 for adaptation to protect our own priority assets, set an example as the Highway Authority, and also we've got public buildings, things like that, where we can be more resilient and take measures to do that. And then also because the biggest sort of flood risk aspects around highways, we've got plenty of work we could be doing in that area. There's investment there in highways drainage assets, so proactive maintenance of culverts, developing a system of sustainable drainage management. You've seen that more. Those of you that have seen some of our major schemes will know that's now something that we're adopting and working on. And also mapping and understanding where those assets are, underground drainage assets in particular. And we'll also be increasing our gully emptying as a trial basis as well. And the report then sets out a sort of initial profile of that funding in those areas over 3 years. As I said, the report also sets out work that's been ongoing since the previous reports in February and in the summer, and also as well sets out some of the work we've been doing to lobby national government where we feel that there could be improvements there. And so the recommendations are as per the order paper, Chair, and I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Could I call on Mr. Tilbury to speak and move the motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Jana, for the report. When Reform formed the administration, one of our most urgent priorities was to combat flooding. Over the last couple of years, Leicestershire has been devastated with flooding, and we are determined to be proactive in mitigating the effects. Having visited flood areas all over the county and seen the catastrophic consequences to people's homes and lives, I was certain transferring this money over from a non-specified net zero fund to tackling flooding was indeed the correct choice. Look, let's be honest, the 2 million is a drop in the ocean, but it's a glimmer of light to flood hit victims. Having spoken to these victims and residents, they're increasingly worried about the continued development around their towns and villages, many of which are in floodplains that will possibly increase the risk of flooding. Places such as Syston, Oadby, Harborough, plus many more areas are seeing their areas encircled with new developments without any major infrastructure upgrades, and this is putting increasing pressure upon the outdated drainage and sewage systems. Seeing the budget of the Environment Agency decreasing, I can only say this will require central government to step in and fund a comprehensive upgrade of our underground network and major structural engineering works to offer full adequate solution to flood prevention. Sadly, it appears the government do not see this as a priority, even though they're committed to building tens of thousands of new homes in Leicestershire. In summary, as Jana said, it is a flexible scheme. We cannot say we'll stop flooding, but myself and the officers at LCC, we do our utmost to be proactive in prevention, which is why we'll get to work immediately utilising the £2 million pot, clearing drains, gutters and culverts in a more regular cycle, funding small infrastructure projects and opening a community grant scheme to make residents more flood resilient. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that, Adam. Could I call upon Mr. Whitford, please, to second the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm also pleased to support this report as it provides an opportunity for the Local Highways Authority to show leadership and commitment as a risk management authority. Highways, drainage, infrastructure is a significant part of the highways asset, and we are pleased to invest in this important area over the next 3 years. I'm also pleased to have the opportunity to consider how the Local Highways Authority can adapt its ways of working to become more resilient and manage the impacts of extreme weather, reducing risks of distribution in the future. So I'm happy to second this, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. Before I ask you to vote, I want to say that congratulate Adam on his work. After the election, and this is one of the things in my mind, having looked over places which I was involved with as a previous councillor, areas that had suffered it, the devastation, and for people to come down the stairs and find their waist deep in sewerage and all sorts, it's absolutely disgraceful. But this can happen year after year. It may lapse for a year or two, but then it's there again. So we are trickling some money into it. I think ultimately some of it will need some proper engineering because, you know, we're just trying to start at the beginning and hopefully this is going to be effective. And I think, as Janice said, we're going to put, this is going to be real live trial, seeing how it works, what the results are and the value to the public of Leicestershire. So having had it moved, is that agreed? Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we move on to item 7, rights of way improvement plan. Agenda item 7 sets out the outcome of the public consultation on the draft rights of way improvement plan 2025-2035 and seeks approval of the improvement plan associated with action plan. We've received written submission from the Leicestershire Footpath Association, and this is attached to order paper marked 7A. Jana will also present this report, and I'll ask Charles Whitford to speak as a Cabinet lead member. Jana, if you would, please.
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, as you said, this report presents our rights of way improvement plan. The draft plan would be adopted as our formal plan if approved today. And we just wanted to sort of report back as we said we would do last time we came to you on the engagement exercises taken forward. So you may remember some of those were informal, where we talked to stakeholders, groups that we work with, volunteers, and then we had a 12-week formal consultation as well on the plan. Both the rights of way improvement plan and the action plan that's associated with it that lasts for 10 years. And I think just on the representations that you've had it's just really important to note, although it's a 10-year plan, doesn't mean that it's finished. You know, we will update it and continue to work with communities as well. So there'll be more detail as we go through, and I'll touch on a little bit of that just in a moment. So as you know, the Rights of Way Improvement Plan is a statutory requirement under the Countryside and Rights of Way Act 2000. It's really about us doing our duty to support people to access and use rights of way, and then to produce that improvement plan and keep it up to date. We've updated the plan in line with government guidance, but also as really importantly with that community involvement as well, and with our other aims in mind. So we know that rights of way play a really vital role in connecting people to services, in being able to choose to travel in an active way to improve health and well-being, access to green spaces, and also as part of looking after our environment, our place that we live and work in. So the report covers the consultation process, the key findings. I won't go through all of that. There's quite a lot of detail on the consultation outcomes appended to the report for you. But the sort of summary of the responses is set out in paragraphs 36 to 53 in the report. You can see the responses were overall positive, and there are some strong key themes coming out for us to take on board. So accessibility, so things like replacing stiles, making the routes more accessible for people, being more able to be active and volunteer around rights of way was a strong theme, recognising the importance of maintaining historic rights of way, and concerns around closures or maintenance of those. And I think certainly then some concerns around sort of balancing that accessibility with maintaining the rural character and preventing sort of misuse of those rights of way. So there's quite a bit in there, and I think we can certainly recognise that focus on maintenance and access to rights of way coming through. And just in relation to the representations from the Leicestershire Footpaths Association, first of all, we're really grateful to have that engagement. We know there's work on the Leicestershire Round that the association does, and we're hoping to build on that as well with future work funded by the local transport grant. We have met with the association. We know there's a list of concerned sites, and our team are going to be assessing those and seeing what we can do in terms of signage or what's really in line with guidance to improve that. There was a really long list. I think, I have to be realistic with the resources we've got. We won't be able to tackle all of those, and perhaps the level of infrastructure that was requested, but we certainly will assess the sites in line with guidance and implement signing as required. So we're working through those, and I think again it's really positive that people have seen the consultation, the plan, and are engaging with it. And the plan as well will be updated, as we said, as people bring scheme forwards. So working through those sites, we'll update the plan as we said, and any further meetings or contact, we'll be happy to participate in those as well. So the action plan accompanying the ROIP then is a dynamic document. We will report on our progress on an annual basis, and also we'll update the plan with anything. You'll see that this year we've been able to include additional investment in rights of way following the local transport grant, some one-off funding of £345,000 going in there, and that's based on feedback we've had. And so we will continue to look for opportunities to increase the plan as well where we can. So in conclusion, Cabinet approval of the ROIP will enable the Council to fulfil its statutory obligations, deliver on those priorities, and then continue to work with the community to update the plan. We know that rights of way are really important to our communities, and we know that we won't be able to meet all the aspirations that were shared with us, but we feel that this is a step forward and will increase access for people to the rights of way network. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jana. Could I call on Mr. Whitford to move the motion, please, on the order paper? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again, Jana. I'm pleased to support the adoption of the new rights of way improvement plan. There's a forward-looking plan that has been shaped by extensive public consultation and stakeholders' engagement, reflecting our shared commitment and is well maintained, accessible and sustainable public rights of way network. The ROIP includes practical actions to ensure the experience of Leicestershire residents in using public rights of way across the county, supporting healthier lifestyles and stronger, well-connected communities. Thank you to the public and everyone who's inputted into the engagement and consultation, and we look forward to working together in the future and in the improvement area of work. So I move this motion.
Thank you, Mr. Whitford. Could I call upon Mr. Rikiki to second the motion, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I welcome this report. I think most landowners would be in the same sort of feeling as I am, that footpaths have been neglected quite badly over the past 20, 30 years. Stiles have not been replaced. It's left to the farmer to put some sort of stile up to keep his stock in place. And we know our rights of way are important across the county. And I am pleased that the rights of way improvement plan has been developed with communities and will help connect people across Leicestershire by improving access to the green spaces and local amenities which are out there in the countryside. More of our residents are using the rights of way network, but sometimes I'm afraid they don't know where the rights of way are because of the neglect and just wander aimlessly through fields. This, of course, means the potential for healthier, more active lifestyles, and the plan supports volunteering and community activities and works towards making the network more accessible for everyone. And I am pleased that where we are able to, we are investing in this important asset. So this certainly takes my blessing, and I second this report.
Thank you, Mr. Creaky. Is that agreed? Thank you. Right, we move on to item 8, which is the Melton Local Plan partial update due to cooperate statement of common ground. The agenda item 8 advises the progress of the Melton Borough Council local plan and seeks approval for the County Council to become a signatory of the statement of common ground with the Borough Council regarding the two authorities' duty to cooperate with each other. Comments have been received from Mr. Innes, and these are attached to the order paper marked 8A. Julie Thomas, Head of Planning and Historic and Natural Environment, and Jana Walker, Assistant Director of Environment Transport, are here to present the report. After Julie and Jana have spoken, I will then wish to move the report. Thank you.
The purpose of this report is to advise the Cabinet on the progress of the Melton Borough Local Plan review and to seek approval for the County Council to become a signatory to a statement of common ground with Melton Borough Council regarding the two authorities' duty to cooperate. The duty to cooperate is a legal duty for local planning authorities, county councils and relevant bodies to engage constructively, actively and on an ongoing basis in any process, including the preparation of development plan documents. This statement of common ground has been jointly produced by Melton Borough Council and the County Council to confirm that the parties have effectively and regularly cooperated to address matters associated with the production of the Melton Local Plan partial review. Specifically, it confirms the consensus for the Melton Local Plan partial update period to mirror the period of the adopted local plan to 2036, and to confirm Melton Borough Council's commitment to start a new local plan immediately after the adoption of the local plan update. Melton Borough Council is aiming for the submission of the local plan partial update by the end of 2025 and seeks to have the statement of common ground formally signed ahead of their council meeting in November 25. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm happy to move the motion on the order paper maintaining effective cooperation between the County Council and the Melton Borough Council is demonstrated through the signing of a statement of common ground. So it's important that we continue to cooperate with each other. And I believe this is really critical. Moving forward, we have to have proper cooperation and proper understanding on all the developments that are taking place in Leicestershire. And this is one of the only ways it can actually happen, by actually using legal documents and cooperation and agreements that will stand the little test of time, because all of this is involved when we speak to developers as well. We know where we're going and we're on solid ground. So I wholeheartedly, happily move that and call upon Mr. Fowler to second the motion, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Without wishing to reiterate your own words there, I completely agree. I think from a county council's perspective, we might not always have exactly the same views as the district councils when it comes to matters of planning. I think that's inevitable. But the key thing for the residents, which are the people that we represent, is making sure that we're doing what we can to enable sustainable development. And things like duties to cooperate and statements of common ground are exactly the route to go down. So it's very important that we put this forward. I'd like to thank Mr. Innes for his comments as well, because I think they're valid concerns. I think we're all concerned about housing growth, rather, when it's uncontrolled. But the way you mitigate them and the way we're enabled to deal with developer contributions and put them in the right places is to cooperate in these manners. So I'm happy to second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. Could I have show of hands? Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we move on now to item 9. Melton South Sustainable Neighbourhood Statement of Common Ground.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It is. The next report seeks approval for the County Council to become signatories to the Melton South Sustainable Neighbourhood Statement of Common Ground. This statement relates to the Melton South Sustainable Neighbourhood and the Southern Melton Mowbray Distributor Road, and has been prepared jointly by the County Council, Melton Borough Council, Davison Developments Limited and Bloor Homes, to support the Melton local plan and partial plan examination. We've received supplementary reports to the main agenda pack for this meeting, which presents the draft statement to the common ground, and ask that the delegation to be given to the Chief Executive for the signing of the statement of common ground to enable minor amendments to be made. Comments from Mr. Innes have been received, and these are attached to the order paper marked 9A. Julie and Jana will again present the report. Thank you.
Thank you. The Melton South Sustainable Neighbourhood includes the Melton Mowbray Distributor Road South. In respect of highways and transport considerations, the County Council has formally committed to phased delivery of the MMDRS, subject to no funding for the scheme being required from the County Council. A letter of representation has been received highlighting concerns regarding healthcare provision in Melton and the amount of new development putting further demands on the existing provision. It has been suggested that the County Council refuse to sign the Statement of Common Ground until an urgent review of healthcare has been undertaken. The signing of this Statement of Common Ground is part of the local plan process and is a factual statement of where we are at this point in time. There is no justification or rationale to delay signing the Statement of Common Ground until healthcare provision is resolved. As previously mentioned, the duty to cooperate is a legal duty for local planning authorities. It's open for the district council to carry. It's open for the care commissioners and the district council to carry out such a review, then allocate for any new provision in the forthcoming review of the local plan. It's also within the powers of the district council to seek Section 106 contributions towards its provision, but this is likely to mean reduced education contributions, despite Melton having an adopted SPD which prioritises education above all other Section 106 contributions. This has been seen in the granting of planning permission for 175 dwellings off Melton Road, Burton Lazars, which went to Planning Committee on the 23rd of October. At committee, the leader, Councillor Alnett, referred to Mr Harrison's comments in the press last week and put forward a case to depart from the SPD on this occasion and divert some of the section money to primary care. The application was then approved as per the officer recommendation, but with £100,000 of Section 106 funds, which were to go to education, being diverted to primary care, and also a late stage review mechanism was included. Subject to agreement, the parties will continue to work together to deliver the site using the agreed principles set out in paragraph 28 of the report, and in the SCG to inform joint master planning, phasing and delivery work to support the delivery of the Melton South Sustainable Neighbourhood within and beyond the plan period. As the Chairman has said, to enable minor alterations, as there are a few yellow highlighted areas in the statement of common ground, which are fairly minor, but there are a few bits and bobs that still need to be included. So yes, if we could have delegated approval to the chief executive, that would be most helpful.
Thank you very much for that. I'd like to propose this again. This is more complex report that shows the commitment progress made by the relevant parties in delivering a specific strategic allocation. I'm pleased to note the work continues to progress. Proposal will move to a motion on the order paper. It is delicate because we did have some interaction with that council where they thought the S106, which is allocated to major road infrastructure up there, and we've spent literally tens and tens. It's a massive amount of money that's gone into that development. But they're in charge of S106, as we all know, and for them to not allocate accordingly and make the preparations they need because they're in charge of that. So it isn't good when we sort of have a wrist slapped and said, no, we're going to spend your money elsewhere, but we still have to work and continue. So once we get over that, we've got to move back and try and find ways to how we can move forward. So I'm happy to propose that motion and call upon Mr. Fowler to second the motion. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again, Mr. Chairman. It's similar to the previous item on the agenda. This is more about making sure that we are remaining within our legal duties and making sure that we don't hinder ourselves by getting involved in political battles, so to speak, because of minor disagreements. I think the MMDR is a big project and it warrants the necessary amount of support. So a statement of common ground is the right way to go because you don't want it to stall, especially when we're trying to get these healthcare provisions and education provisions. And I would reject the abandonment, so to speak, from Melton Borough Council of the education provisions. But on the same score, we understand that it is a difficult dance to balance between the two because there is a limited amount of money. But ultimately, this statement of common ground is just to try and work together, and we do need to cooperate. So I'm happy to second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is that agreed? Thank you. Item 10 is Leicester County Council Museum Policy Revision and Accreditation. Agenda item 10 presents revised museum access policy in 2025 to 2030 and collections development policy 25 to 2030 for approval. The report also informs us of the museum accreditation return, which has been submitted to the Arts Council England. John Wilson, the Director of Adult and Communities, and Fran Willis, Head of Service Communities and Wellbeing, will present the report. Good afternoon, John and Fran. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
As you've noted, the current museum access and collections development policies expire next month. Those policies are a key requirement of the UK Museum Accreditation Standard, which is administered by the Arts Council England to ensure nationally agreed standards across all UK museums. As you've noted, in December 24, we were notified by Arts Council England that we needed to submit returns for continued accreditation and that we needed to submit those returns by August of this year. Those returns have been submitted and acknowledged by the Arts Council England. Given the timescales involved, the current collections development policy and the current access policy were submitted as part of those returns. However, the revised policies, if approved by Cabinet today, will replace those that were previously submitted. I'll just ask Fran now if she'll go through the detail of both policies for members' approval.
Thank you.
John, good afternoon. As John's outlined, the paper seeks approval for two policies for the Museum Service, the Access Policy and the Collections Development Policy, and should Cabinet choose to approve them today, it's proposed that those updated policies are submitted to Arts Council England in line with accreditation guidelines. Leicestershire County Council manages 5 accredited museums. They're Bosworth Battlefield Heritage Centre, the 1620s House and Garden, Charnwood Museum, Harborough Museum and Melton Carnegie Museum. Charnwood and Harbour museums are operated in partnership with the district and borough councils. The policies have been reviewed by officers and feedback has been received from the Departmental Equalities Group, the partner authorities. There was a co-creation workshop held and also the Adults and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Committee, and their comments have been reflected in the policies. So I'm just going to briefly take you through the key aspects. So the access policy, which is attached as Appendix A in your report, states our commitment to increasing access to the museum service and its resources. The policy covers our venues, our collections, learning programmes and resources, visitor services and communications. The policy defines 8 key barriers to access, and they're detailed in paragraph 27 of your report. The term cognitive has replaced the term intellectual, which was used in the 21-25 version of the policy. And it also sets out how the service will seek to minimise or eliminate the impact of those barriers to users over the life of the policy through a series of policy statements that relate to each barrier. The policy also includes a new statement on artificial intelligence. That's in paragraph 6.16 of the access policy, which explains how AI might be used by the service and how the use of AI will be made visible by us. The Collections Development Policy, which is Appendix B in your report, sets out how the museum service will collect, care for and make accessible the collections it holds, which record and reflect the natural life of the county and also the histories, interests and aspirations of the people that have made Leicestershire their home and also their place of work. The Leicestershire Museum collections cover some 500,000 years of human experience from the prehistoric period through to the present day. By definition, a museum has a long-term purpose and we hold collections in trust for the benefit of the public. The Collections Development Policy sets out how the council makes decisions in relation to those collections, including the acquisition process, so how items are taken into the collection. That's in sections 8.4 to 14.2 of the policy, and the disposal procedures, which can be found in sections 15.1 to 15.8 of the policy. The policy also provides a thematic overview of the collections areas. They're split into natural life, archaeology, home and family life, working life and cultural life, and also highlights areas of excellence. It covers our priorities for future collecting, areas where further collections will not be accepted, priorities for rationalisation and disposal. It also details the relevant legislation and guidance which underpins activity and decision making, and these are summarised in paragraph 46 of your report. As John said, we submitted our returns at the end of August and we anticipate an outcome by spring 2026. We hope that we will retain accreditation standard for all 5 of the council's museums. The standard is administered by Arts Council England and encompasses the nationally agreed standards for UK museums. It ensures that museums are sustainable, focused and trusted, and that helps to give confidence to the public, funding bodies and also governing bodies. It also provides access to certain sources of funding, and it is an expectation that museum services that are in receipt of National Portfolio Organisation funding, which is an area of funding that the councils, museums and libraries are currently in receipt of, we continue to qualify for that. Yes, so if Cabinet chooses to approve the revised policies, we will send those through to Arts Council in due course. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I call upon Mr. Crook to speak and move the motion on the order paper?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Fran and John. I'm pleased to bring forward for approval the revised Museum Access Policy and Collections Development Policy as outlined in the report before us. These policies are the cornerstone of our museum services commitment to safeguarding Leicestershire's rich heritage whilst making it vibrant and inclusive for all. The Access Policy reaffirms our dedication to breaking down barriers, whether physical, economic or cultural, so that everyone from local families to tourists and visitors can engage with our sites like Bosworth Battlefield and Charnwood Museum. It ensures we deliver an equitable, high quality service that celebrates our communities and enhances well-being. Complementing this, the Collections Development Policy guides how we acquire, care for and share our irreplaceable collections, aligning with national standards from Arts Council England. Together, they form our collections development framework, promoting transparency, ethical practice and sustainable growth. These updates are reviewed by the Adults and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Committee, who offered valuable insights,
renew our accreditation status expiring next month. They directly support our strategic plan's greater communities outcome, conserving our natural and cultural legacy, all without additional costs. I therefore move that Cabinet approves the policies and authorises their submission to Arts Council England. This is a vital step in ensuring our museums remain trusted and forward-thinking spaces that inspire pride in our county's past and future. I commend this to the Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Could I now call upon Mr. Pugsley to second the motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to second the motion to approve the revised museum access policy and collections development policy on the order paper. These policies will help us to continue to ensure that Leicestershire's rich and distinctive heritage is both celebrated and shared to benefit all of our communities and those who visit the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I move that, please? Agreed? Thank you. Thank you. Right, we move on to item 11, referred from the overview and scrutiny. There are no items referred from the overview and scrutiny committee. 12, urgent items. There are no urgent items. Item 13, exclusion of the press and public. That brings the part of this meeting to a close. Thank you for your attending. (100A) of the Local Government Act 1972 and the public be excluded for the following item of business on the grounds that it involves that the likely disclosure of exempt information be defined in paragraph 3 and 10 of part 1 of the schedule 12A of the Act. That is all, that in all circumstances and cases the public interest be retained and the exemption outweighs the public interest in the disclosure. Is everybody agreed? Agreed? Thank you.
Just wait.